Hi, I'm Barbara Langston, and I'm a certified Zentangle teacher, and this is an introduction to Zentangle. I'm going to give you just a very brief background of how Zentangle came about and how I got into it, and then I'll show you how to create your own first piece of art. It's very easy, it's fun to learn, and it's a method that's based on structured patterns. Zentangle was founded by Maria Thomas and Rick Roberts. Maria was an artist and calligrapher, and Rick Roberts at one time had been a monk. Maria, one day in her studio when she was working on art, had been doing some repetitive patterns. And Rick walked into the room and kind of surprised her, and she didn't realize how long she had been there, unaware of troubles around her or whatever. And Rick said, well, it sounds very much like you were in a meditative state. And they wanted to teach other people how to get into that same relaxation and do that by doing very easy to learn art. And so that's what I'm going to teach you today. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my other camera because I don't want to just keep talking and talking. The best thing about Zentangle is to learn by doing. And this is very basically what you'll need today. This is my information, and I'll leave that there. And Zentangle uses what we call a tile. This is a 3.5-inch square of nice paper that is from Zentangle, but we can also use other paper if you don't have this available, and I can get supplies to you if you need it. This is a Sakura Micron 01 fine tip archival ink pen. And you can see that it's got a pretty fine tip on it. And this is a graphite pencil that we will use for shading. And this is a rolled piece of paper called a tortillon, and it is used for smoothing your shading after you add it. Now, if you don't have these exact supplies, then you can get just a piece of cardstock paper, regular paper, a fine tip pen, or any ballpoint pen if that's what you need, any pencil, and you can use a Q-tip or you can use your finger. Now, you can pause the video now to get the supplies that you need, and I'm going to get ready to show you the first steps. With Zentangle, we have 8 basic steps to the method. The first method is is always gratitude and appreciation. And I have a lot of gratitude and appreciation for the supplies that I get from Zentangle, because Rick and Maria, when they started this, decided that they wanted to have the best paper, the best pens and pencils, but also at a good price. And that's what we have in the Zentangle basic kits. The second step is on your tile, we are going to add corner dots. So we always start with our tile, appreciation. Take a breath, release it, relax. I'm going to zoom in and show you. So on our tile, we're going to put a dot in each corner. Okay? And then we're going to make just a simple border, and it doesn't have to be straight. Maria likes to put a little hook in hers. Okay, so now we have our border. The next thing we're going to do is add what's called a string. And a string is just a way to divide your tile into smaller sections so that it's easier to add the patterns. If you were to take an actual string that had come off a piece of clothing and drop it onto a piece of paper, it might fall in some odd ways. And that's kind of the idea of a string, is that it just falls where it may and divides your art. But for this one, we're going to start with a Z, and I'm going to put a line across here. Let me get a little bit dark. Do yours lightly. And then I'm going to come down this way, and then I'm going to come back up. So basically all this string has done is divide our tile into 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. Okay. So now you can put your pencil down and get your pen. And I'm going to show you 4 of the basic Zentangle patterns. And the first one, and you can put yours in any section that you want. You don't have to do it exactly the way that I do. But this one is called Crescent, and each pattern has a name. This one is called Crescent Moon. Okay. And I'm going to put mine, I think, in this section. And what I'm going to do is just put like a little half moon. Some people call it a ladybug. And then I'm going to fill it in. And take your time. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. If you do little circles instead of just straight lines, it can fill in that little section a little better. Okay. So I'm going to move over about the same amount of width that I did on that. I'm going to put another one. And again, fill it in. And the nice thing about Zentangle tiles now is we're going to turn it. And what this does for us is helps to keep our hand or our wrist in the same position. And as you do the same patterns and strokes again and again, you start to get muscle memory. And it's easier for you to do the patterns after you've done them several times because of muscle memory. Turn your tile. If you need to pause or back up the video to see what I've done, that's okay. That's the nice thing about having a recording. Your little half moons don't have to look exactly like mine. Excuse my dry throat. And I'm just going to do like a quarter piece of pie here. Okay. What we're going to do next is one of the basic things that you'll see in Zentangle again and again, and that is we're going to add an aura, A-U-L-A, around each one of these little ladybugs that we've done. So I'm going to add one, move to the next one, add an aura. I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger. and add an aura. Turn my tile. Okay. So we're going to do that same thing again on each one of these little half moons. We're going to add another aura. Turn my tile. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm just relaxing. Relax your shoulders, relax your hand. Turn your tile. Continue adding auras. Okay. Now we're going to do that again. And when you get to where you can't start again because you run out of space, then just come on up, stop here, and come around. Some people go all the way down. If you want, you can do it like so. So this is where I ended. I'm going to come back up. I'm going to go down the center. Turn my tile. Coming back up. Go to the center. And this one, it doesn't go all the way down. So I'm just going to stop here. Aura. Come around again. And then you can just keep turning. Aura each one. Turn your tile. Very simple process. Okay. So that is crescent moon. I'm going to go ahead and fill in this little corner. And then aura that to fill in that one spot. Okay. So this pattern teaches you about auras, like I said here, and this is used many times in Zentangle patterns. The next pattern that I'm going to show you is called floors. Okay, and floors begins with a grid. And so I'm going to just do a straight line across here. Another straight line. And I think I'm going to bring this one out and make them meet. Okay, and then I went over that border line that we had added. Now I'm going to just make a grid, just a simple grid. And you're going to just pretend that it would have kept going under that line that you have there for your string. Doesn't have to be perfect squares. Doesn't have to be perfect lines. It's just getting into the movement of making those easy strokes. Okay, the second thing that we're going to do on floors is in each one of these where you have the intersection, we're going to put a little square or diamond, depending on how you want to look at it. And the way that this pattern came about was that it looked like the pattern in tiles on the floor tiles. And that's why this one is called floors. Like I say, just a very simple grid. And then you're adding this little box at each intersection. Again, remembering to relax your hand, relax your shoulders. Remember to breathe. Breathing's important. My YouTube channel, I decided to call it Not Perfect Zen, because I don't expect to be perfect in my art. I just enjoy the doing. Try my best to not compare to anyone else. And I don't expect any of my students to do perfect work. The idea, instead of not being perfect, is just to find the Zen. Hence the name, Not Perfect Zen. When I found out about Zentangle, I had been trying to meditate, and I was meditating, but not feeling like I was getting into the quote-unquote zone. When I started doing Zentangle, that was my answer. I felt like I was relaxing, I was clearing my mind, I was focusing on something that was fun and easy to do. Just like when I was a kid, I used to like to do the articles in the ads in the magazines that said, "Can you draw this?" And I could copy what someone had done. I just couldn't go out, look at a tree or something like that and make good art, but I could copy. And that's what Zentangle did for me. I was able to express myself in a fun and easy way that is also relaxing. Okay, now if you need to catch up, remember you can pause the video. I'm trying my best to go slow and take this nice and easy. Okay, so far we have crescent moon, that's this one, and we have floors, and that's this one. So it does kind of look like either floor tiles or tiles in a bathroom. So, okay, the third pattern that we're going to do, and I'm going to do mine over here, and it is called printemps, which is a French word, which means spring. And Rick and Maria call it printemps, and a lot of other people call it printemps. So this one is to teach you, again, about muscle memory and about doing spirals. And for printemps, I'm going to start at the center and make a small spiral and just keep coming around, nice and easy. And if you go over that string, don't worry about it. And I'm going to come around and just stop. Okay, so that's basically all there is to printemps. I'm going to go next to it and do a little bit smaller one. Just spiral around, move your wrist to what's most comfortable for you. You can do them wide, you can do them a little bit closer, you can do tiny ones. I tend to go in a counterclockwise direction. You might feel more comfortable going clockwise. And here it looks like this one is going under the others. And then I'm going to put a little line and pretend that it went under and came back. Okay. Then I'm just going to continue to fill in this area, just nice and slow. Make your little spirals. Make them various sizes. Turn your tile when you need to. Relax your shoulders. Again, I'm going to go outside that border. Borders and strings are suggestions. This is your art, and you do it the way that you want to do it. Go slowly. It's not a race. It's not a contest. We're not graded. The Zentangle community is just a wonderful place. Always so supportive. I have really made great friends all over the world, especially now during the pandemic when a lot of people are staying home. People, certified Zentangle teachers all around the world started teaching classes online. And that includes me. I was teaching to students out at local community college when the shutdown happened. And for a while, I just sent ideas through email, and then decided that I would try my hand at doing Zoom classes. And this is my first time to just record this way. Normally, I have meetings and I'm teaching to my former students and also a few new friends in a Zoom meeting. But it's my first time to record without an audience. So let's hope this goes well. Other than being a certified Zentangle teacher, I'm not a professional teacher. I do this because I love it and I want to share it. When I first found out about Zentangle, I wanted to teach to veterans, especially those who might have PTSD, because it is such a relaxing art method. And if you focus on what you're doing instead of other problems around you, the stress of whatever might be happening around you, it can be very relaxing and calming. Okay, so again, I didn't go all the way to that border. I might put a little one here. I have a sign that I give to my students that says, "This is not a contest. You're not being graded. Enjoy each line as you draw it. And this is a quote from Rick and Maria, because anything is possible, one stroke at a time. Okay, so again, this one that we just finished is called printemps. Pause the video if you need to so that you can catch up. And when you're ready, the next one that we're going to do is called volleyball. Maria has two daughters, Martha Huggins and Molly Hollabaugh is her last name. And Molly's husband is the one who came up with this next pattern that we're going to do. And they try not to name patterns in such a way that it makes you think of, say, a bird or a certain flower, things like that. They try to give it kind of a generic name. And so that's how this one came about. And with Hollabaugh, what we're going to do is start anywhere you want in the last section that you have left. And we're going to put two parallel lines. So I'm going to start here and make a line straight across. And then, oh, not too wide, let's say about 1/4 inch. We're going to put another line. Okay? And then I'm going to turn my tile and I'm going to do another line across here, the same width as these two lines and one next to it. But what we're going to do is when we get to this line, I'm going to pretend it's going under it. So I'm going to lift my pen and it would come out here and finish my line. I'm going to do the same thing here, about the same width as that one. Doesn't have to be perfect, can be a little bit bigger or smaller. Stop, lift your pen as if you were still going, and then finish your line. And I'm going to add several more lines across here that way. So if this one were to go across here, it's going to go under this one. And I'm just going to move my pen as if I was still drawing, but it's up. So I can keep that line straight. And then it goes across. Add another one. This one's a little bit smaller. So you can see it went under this ribbon or road. You can think of it as a road map. And it ends there. Okay. Over here, it looks like it's coming under the printemps. And like it started at the end of that piece of floors. Turn your tile. You may be more comfortable drawing a line straight toward you. You might be more comfortable drawing your lines from left to right or right to left. Now, if you're left-handed, then you also will be able to do this in any way that's most comfortable for you. There's no right or wrong. Okay, I'm going to do this one across here, go under, and stop. Come to here, go under. This one got a little bit fat, and it's going all the way under. So again, no perfection required. And I'm going to stop there. Pause the video if you need time to catch up. And then this is where we're going to use the graphite pencil and the tortillon. And I'm just going to show you a little bit about shading. And I'm going to start with Hollabaugh. And wherever one of these ribbons is going under the other, you might think that it would cause a shadow if there were a light shining on it. And in Zentangle, we don't worry about exactly which direction the light is coming from. We're not worrying about the light source and trying to get it just right. True Zentangle classic art does not have an up or down. So I can turn this in any way, and I can't say this is the top and this is the bottom, because it doesn't matter. We're just doing this as a relaxing art form. Okay, so wherever this is going under, I'm adding shadows. Very lightly. And the reason that this is so short is because it's best to hold your pencil flat, not to put your pencil straight down. So if you watch, if I add graphite very lightly like that, then I can come in here and soften it. If I add a harsh line, because I went straight up and down, then that's not so easy to soften. So this is what we're looking for. We're putting our pencil on the side and softly adding graphite. And you can do that with any pencil. Okay. And now that I have that down, and I'm going to add a little bit here and here as if those are going under. Okay. Then I get my tortillon, and I'm going to hold it on the side, just like the way I was holding the pencil. And just very lightly soften that line. Nope, I missed one, but there's enough graphite still on the pencil. It's wherever you laid down your graphite, you're going to just gently, softly pull it into the paper. Soften those edges. We like to call shading the icing on the cake. Remembering to turn your tile. If you'll notice, my hand pretty much stays in the same place, but I turn my tile as needed so that I can soften that graphite. And a lot of times you end up with enough graphite left on your tortillon that you can use it in other places. Okay, the next one that we're going to shade is Crescent Moon. And I think where these lines kind of meet, I'm just going to add softly a little bit of graphite down inside each one. Turning my tile. Go ahead and add some here. And again, yours may be different, and that's okay. It's the process that's important. Okay. I think I'll add a little bit down here. Then I get my tortillon, and then I'm just going to soften it. Kind of pull it up. But I don't want to bring it across the whole thing. I'm just going to bring it up a little bit on each side, especially on these. And it gives you kind of perspective that what is closer to you has kind of a highlight. What's moving away from you is darker, so it makes it look like these go down. Almost like a tube. Okay, hopefully you can see the difference that that made. Makes it look like little tunnels to me with a little highlight on top. Okay. Again, pause the video if you need to. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to shade inside of each of these little squares in the floors pattern. And to do that, I'm just going to make a little C. Can you see that? Just a little curve inside each one of them. Very softly. And I don't want to do it too darkly, but I want you to be able to see it. You can see how I did that right there. I'm just going to make a little L. Here kind of looks like a J, very softly inside each one, okay? Just don't even push down with your pencil, just let your pencil very softly move on the paper. If it gets weird like that one, it's okay. Just giving it a little bit of depth. It's almost going to look like little pillows down there. There are some people who do not add any shading on their tiles, and that's okay, but I think you'll find that if you add some shading, it really makes a huge difference on how your tile looks. Don't be afraid to add shading. Again, there's no grading, not a contest. Just be brave and do it. Once you have a little bit of graphite on each one of those, then you're just going to take that tortillon again and just very gently go in little bitty circles and soften it. You can see this is where my string was. Doesn't matter. Your string is never erased. Usually it just disappears within the patterns on your tile. And just very slowly and softly moving my tortillon in circles. And if you can see, it's almost making it look like little pillows in there. Gives it some texture. Remembering to relax your shoulders, breathe, just enjoy the moment of focusing on your patterns, your tile, your tortillon. Kind of see texture on that now. All right, the last one that we're going to do, and again, if you need to, pause the video. The last one I'm going to do is the printemps. And there were a few places where it looks like one of these spirals is on top of the other spirals. So I'm just going to add a little bit of graphite on the outside of that spiral that looks like it's on top, as if it is putting a little bit of shadow on the spiral that's below it. So look at the spirals that you've put on your tile and see if one might be appearing to be on top of another one. And add a little bit of graphite on the outside. And then once you have that on there, we're going to take our tortillon and holding it at the side, always gently with the tortillon. I have many tortillons that I have pushed down like this and it flattens the end. That's not what we're looking for. We're going to do it on the side, very softly. Just add a little shadow. And then with the graphite that's left on my tortillon, I'm just adding a little bit of a shadow across the back of this. And pause if you need to catch up. Okay. And the last two steps. So we've done it all so far. We started with gratitude and appreciation for our tools. And I have a lot of appreciation for the Zentangle method. We added corner dots, a border, the string, which was the Z that we added on here. Then we added our tangle patterns and the shading. The last thing that you do is to initial and sign your tile. We call it a chop. And a chop is generally your initials. So I've used two different chops. Well, actually, I've used just B, B, L. It looks kind of sloppy. Okay. I have used an L, and I'm doing this kind of big so you can see. An L, and then I put my B and B, within that. And in my initial sketchbooks, I have several different ways I tried to do this. And lately, I've been doing an L with a B in this direction and a B in this direction. So what we're going to do is add our chop on our tile, remembering that it doesn't matter how you turn your tile. Decide where you might want to add your chop. And I think I'll hang mine off of this. Okay, so there's my chop. The next thing, it says sign. So flip your tile over. The original Zentangle tiles have a place for your signature and the date. Any other information that you might want to put. Now I'm just going to put my initials for now. And today happens to be 8/1 of 2020. And you hopefully had completed your first Zentangle tile. And I hope you enjoyed it. I do Zentangle almost every day. I rarely, if ever, miss a day of doing Zentangle. Again, this is my information. On Facebook, I am Barbara Langston. I went to CZT Seminar 34, which was in June of 2019. And this is my Instagram page where you can see a lot of the work that I've done. And then this is my YouTube channel. Again, not perfect Zen because I try my best to avoid comparing myself to others, and I don't expect anyone to do perfect work, and I know I don't do perfect work. Now, real quickly, I want to show you, when I first found out about Zentangle, I couldn't go to any of the classes because of time. I was babysitting, and I still do babysit my grandchildren. But what I did was did some research and found out about books that were helpful. And this is an excellent book for learning how to do Zentangle. I actually did one Zentangle a day. And I want to show you, for instance, inside here, she shows what is called a step out. This is crescent moon. This is one of the patterns that we just did. Every Zentangle pattern has what's called the step outs, each one of these steps. And you can find these online. You can find them in books, such as these. Okay, this is one of the pages within the book. And there are sites online that have the step outs. These are step outs that I have created for the patterns that we just did. And I know it's not real clear on this, but if you're taking this video, I will have sent you these files so that you have what you need. And this is printemps, the steps for that. And then here you see the steps for floors. Okay, now I want you to contact me if you have questions, and I will send you more information, more links for places that you can go to learn more about the Zentangle patterns. And I'm hoping that I will see you again in some of my classes. Please keep doing Zentangle. I think you'll love it. All right, bye.